Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing a pretty likely scenario that may happen during the season finale of this next Ninjago season. Whether, of course, you call it Season 15 or Season 16, it's kind of irrelevant to me. All we know is that this new Ninjago season is coming out sometime in the summer of 2022, and there's a lot of expectations that people have for this new Ninjago storyline, especially regarding the villain force, which, according to the new poster and the set leaks that we already have, will be comprised of several returning Ninjago bad guys, probably under the command of the Overlord. Some of these villains include Pythor, Harumi, the Mechanic, and Esphira, just to name a couple, and a lot of discussions are being had surrounding some of these characters and their roles in this upcoming Ninjago season. So in today's video, what I want to do is break down each of the bad guys that are going to be in Ninjago Season 16, again, based off the poster and the set descriptions, and talk about which one of these villains may in fact end up betraying the villainous cause, and which of these villains may betray the Overlord near the season finale of this next Ninjago story. Before we begin, I must give a couple of quick disclaimers. Obviously, with that being said, there will in fact be speculation and theories to follow in today's video. This is not going to be confirmed information. You have been warned. Also, speaking of warnings, this video may in fact contain spoilers as well, just in case something I theorize about ends up being correct, so keep that in mind as we continue forward. So as I've said, it's very likely that one or more of the villains that are going to be returning in Ninjago Season 16 may betray the villainous cause led by the Overlord and may in fact side with the ninja. In terms of the Ninjago bad guys that are going to be returning that I think are very likely to switch sides, the first one that stood out to me was Pythor. Now, Pythor is kind of an interesting case throughout the entirety of Ninjago because we've seen him play both sides before. When Pythor was first introduced back during the initial couple of seasons of Ninjago, he was very much a bad guy. He was the Snake King, the leader of all of the Serpentine. Then when we saw him come back during Ninjago Rebooted, he was actually working for the Overlord, and then following that appearance, he showed up in Season 4 working with the ninja to combat the fake Anachondri led by Master Chen. That was really the only time that we saw Pythor be a good guy per se. We would later see him in Day of the Departed, where he sort of took up a villainous role once again and tried to fight the ninja, allying himself with Master Yang and his villainous team up, and it's hard to say where exactly he's going to be in Season 16. On the actual poster, you can see that Pythor is looking kind of somber, maybe even a little bit sad, so I wonder if that's going to be a theme that this new Ninjago season plays with, whether or not Pythor considers himself a good guy or a bad guy. Especially if he's working with the Overlord again, I feel like Pythor will definitely side with the ninja towards the very end of this next Ninjago season. Now I'd like to talk about Harumi, who's actually kind of in a weird spot right now as well, because many Ninjago fans don't even know if she's going to be in Season 16. From what we have heard from the set leaks and all of those descriptions, it sounds like Harumi is going to be in these new sets, but then again, the new poster doesn't really show her either. Some people have claimed to have seen her on the poster, but I still cannot find her. But if Harumi is in fact going to be in Season 16, yeah, there's a very high chance that she will turn good towards the very end of the season. If Harumi is in fact in Season 16, we know that she survived the encounter with the building during Ninjago Hunted. I've theorized before that after Harumi was allegedly killed by a building, she could have been saved by somebody, maybe Pythor, maybe the Overlord, and nursed back to health somewhere secret off screen. And after all this time in Season 16, she's finally ready to make a comeback. Even if Harumi does come back, and even if she did live, I'm not really sure if she would be a bad guy. The reason why I say this is because of her final sequence during Ninjago Hunted. Right before Harumi was crushed by a building, she actually helped out a small family who were about to go through a similar fate to her and her birth parents. Fortunately, Harumi actually saved them and sacrificed herself in the process. Now, because of this redemption, I think there is a chance that if Harumi does indeed come back, she will be a good guy. And in a way, it would be similar to Moro during Day of the Departed, where you think he's a bad guy, but he eventually ends up being good. I believe Harumi could go through something similar in Ninjago Season 16. And finally, for villains that are likely to change sides if everything goes to plan, I have Mr. E. Now, Mr. E you can actually spot on the Season 16 poster, and I believe Mr. E could turn good if one specific thing is met. That, of course, being the big reveal that Mr. E has been Echo Zane this entire time. For those that don't know, back during Season 8's production, there was going to be a scene where Mr. E was revealed to be Echo Zane, reprogrammed by Harumi and used for evil. Obviously, that plan fell through because during Sons of Garmadon we saw nothing like that, but in Season 16 there's a very good chance that that plot point could be brought back and reworked for the modern day, maybe finally revealing to all of us where Echo Zane has been this entire time. And if that's the case, if Mr. E does in fact end up being Echo Zane, I think there's a good chance that the ninja could reprogram him once again back to the good side. Now, the villains that I think are not very likely to switch sides, I have the Skull Sorcerer, who's probably not going to be changing sides. I mean, Vangelis has always been kind of a bad guy, as we saw during Master of the Mountain. I don't think there's any chance that he could be redeemed. Maybe at some point, but I'm not really going to put money on that happening. I also don't think Asphira is going to turn good at all. And finally, I have here the Mechanic. The Mechanic has always been a bad guy. I'm not sure if we're ever going to see a good guy Mechanic. If we do, that would be kind of awkward. I'm willing to bet that the Mechanic will stay as a villain throughout the entirety of Ninjago Season 16. So to recap really quick, I believe that Pythor, Harumi, and Mr. E, if he will in fact be revealed to be Echo Zane, I think all of those guys are going to turn good towards the end of the season. And in terms of villains that I think are going to stay villains, I believe the Skull Sorcerer or King Vangelis, Asphira, and the Mechanic all belong to that category. There is another possibility that I want to talk about really quick, that of course being the idea that all of the bad guys will turn against the Overlord following Season 16's finale, and I'm not sure how much I like that idea. I mean, we've seen something similar happen before during Ninjago Skybound, where of course all of these sky pirates turned against Nauticon, so maybe we could see something like that going on here, where all of the villains kind of betray the Overlord and team up with the ninja to ultimately defeat him. I'm not sure how much that idea is likely. Like I said, I'm not really sure if that idea would in fact go down. I feel like for certain characters like the Skull Sorcerer, Asphira, and the Mechanic, like I said, there's not really any redemption in sight, but I just thought that idea was worth considering. There definitely is a possibility for all of the villains turning against the Overlord, you know, leading up to the Season 16 finale, but as I've said, that works better for certain characters and not so much others. I think no matter what happens in Ninjago Season 16, somebody will definitely betray the Overlord. It's very, very unlikely that all of these villains will stay villains all the way up to the very end. I think the Overlord might view this villain alliance as being a little bit too powerful as opposed to what it actually is. I don't think it's as strong as he's expecting it to be, and I do believe at least one villain will ultimately betray him and join up with the ninja. Whether that be Pythor, Harumi, or Mr. E, or even somebody else for that matter, we're just gonna have to wait and see. With all that being said, you guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Thank you all very much for watching today's video. Just a video discussing my thoughts as to which returning Ninjago villain I think will end up betraying the Overlord, and hopefully you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on all of that. With that being said, that'll pretty much do it for my thoughts here today, so now it's time to turn things over to you guys down below in the comment section. Leave a comment down below discussing who exactly you think is going to end up betraying the Overlord, or do you think everybody will? Alternatively, do you think that none of the villains will end up turning good and all of them will be evil the entire time? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and as I've said, that'll wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and as always, check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Once again, you guys, my name is TannerFishies, and with that, I bid you farewell.